Unit 7, Lesson 11. Unit 7, Lesson 11 is about the coordinate plane. First thing we're going to talk about, well, actually, we're going to go down here first. Looking at number 4, there are 4 quadrants, 4 different quad being 4, right? So we're talking about it's split, the coordinate plane is split into 4 parts. Pretty much in 5th grade, you worked in quadrant 1. These are all positive on the x and positive on the y. This is where you lived in 5th grade, back in the olden days. But quadrant 1 is right next to quadrant 2 over to the left. And the way I remember the way it goes, 1, 2, 3, 4, is if you can remember that this is quadrant 1 of the coordinate plane. See how there's a C, and if you make a C, it's going to follow from 1, 2, 3, and 4. The coordinate plane. Pretty cool. So when you do this, this is negative for the x, and this is positive for the x. This is negative for the y, and this is positive for the y, which means anything in quadrant 1 is going to be positive x, positive y. So it's going to be positive, positive. Remember again that, let's put this up here, that it is the x coordinate first and then the y coordinate second. Over here in quadrant 2, anything that is in quadrant 2 is negative x and positive y. So I could give you a point and you could be able to tell me what quadrant it is by whether or not it's negative, positive, whatever. Quadrant 3 down here is negative x and it's negative y. So quadrant 3, everything that is listed as a negative, negative 1, a negative and a negative is going to be in quadrant 3. And then quadrant 4 over here is positive x and negative y. So you see that they're all listed in here. Your opposites are here and here. So if we were to do this, and let's just say we're talking about I, 7, negative 4, it's a positive and then a negative. That means I know it's going to end up in quadrant 4 over here. So if I were to graph that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, here's my positive 7, and then down to 1, 2, 3, 4. It'd be about right here, would be I, right there. H, negative, negative, which is going to be in quadrant 3 over here. So negative 1, go to your x first, and then down to negative 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right there would be H. And G, 5, 2, positive positives over here in quadrant 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then up to right about there is G. Okay, so let's look down at question 4b. A point has a positive y coordinate. In which quadrant could it be? So positive y. There's a positive y and there's a positive y, which means this is either going to be quadrant 1 or quadrant 2. And they always do the Roman numerals, by the way, on this. So the question always comes up, what if a point is on the line? So let's say we're talking about K is 1, 0. So I would go over 1 and not move up or down. What quadrant is it in? Is it quadrant 1? No, that is correct. It's not quadrant 1. Oh, then it's quadrant 4. No, it's not quadrant 4. Well, if it's not in quadrant 1 and it's not in quadrant 4, what is it? Oh, do I divide it? 1 plus 4 is 5 divided by 2. Is it quadrant 2.5? No, it is not in a quadrant. If any of the points is a 0, there is no quadrant that it is in. It is not in it. It is on one of the axes. All right? Ah! Okay. We already did that. Yes, we did. Oh, great job. Okay. we're going to look, it's actually easier on this one down here. Right here. We're going to look at question 1. It says Andre shot 3 arrows and they landed at -5, 4. So we're going to look at -5, 4. So this is, by the way, what quadrant are we in over here that they showed this target in? Negative, positive, which means this is quadrant 2. Okay, -5, 4. So if you go to -5 and then you go up 1, 2, 3. Wait, I lost myself. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's the -5, 4. -8, 7. -8, and then up to 7 is right there. And 1, 6. 1, 6. Oh, he throws darts like I do. End up over here. So the question is, oh, these are arrows. Ooh, never mind. This is archery. What is his total score? Show your reasoning. Well, he got 1 in the blue, so he got 6 points for the blue. He got 1 in the red. He got 8 points for that. And they got 1 off. So it says white 2 points, but that means within this circle. So this one is way in the heck over here. So we got 0 points for that. So he would have scored 14. Move just a smidgen up. Right to there. I'm going to erase Andre's stuff here. Okay, so Jada shot an arrow and scored 10 points. So I see that. I know that she had to land in the yellow somewhere. She shot a second arrow that landed directly below the first one, but only scored 2 points. So it had to be in the white somewhere. Name 2 coordinates that could be the landing points of her 2 arrows. There could be multiple ones, but we're just going to choose one. So I'm going to choose, and I want to make sure that I'm on whole number, because that's what I want to deal with. So the first one had to be in yellow, so I'm going to choose this point right here. And that point right there would be -7, 5. So 1 point that she could have landed in was -7, 5. The second one says directly below the first one, and that doesn't mean like right below it. It means it can't be below and to the side or below and to the side. It has to be directly there. That means it has to be on the -7, and since it is in the white, it's going to be right there on, well, sorry, I'm making it a whole number, so it's going to be right there. So that point would be -7, 1. So -7, 1. All right. Yay, they chose the same ones as me. Good for them. Okay. So when you do this homework, graphing points in a coordinate plane, you can just draw your own. It doesn't have to be all perfect and do that stuff, but I just want to see these points in there. And then they're asking you to connect the dots and describe the figure. If you have any questions, get on Google Classroom or Zoom and ask away.